All right, what's up, guys? Bear down. I promised this video. Here it comes. We're 2 days. We're draft eve. We're almost there. We are less than 48 hours away from the 2025 NFL draft. So to do that, I'm doing an entire first round that I think is a realistic scenario for each of these teams. If your team didn't do what you think they'll do, let me know in the comments. There's a couple of them though that I wavered a little bit on, a few surprises, things that may not happen the way that I see it going, but should be fun. Should be fun either way. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you don't mind hitting that like button on your way, sharing it with your friends if you like it, I appreciate that. We're going to jump right into this thing. All 32 picks, trade downs included. Let's go.
Bear down, sports making Chicago proud.
All right, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. We're going to move me off screen for it. You're going to have each team, my basis for it. It'll be quick. I'm not going deep on this one. So we're going to have all 32 teams. This is how they line up as we start into the draft this year. It's going to be the Titans picking first, the Browns picking second, Giants third, Patriots, and so on. And I do think Cam Ward is pretty much a lock. It's the one thing that's probably for certain in this draft. So Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami, is going to head to Tennessee. Start getting into things that could be a little bit different than what you might think as we head into 2, 3, and 4. But I think the only blue chip guys in this draft are going to be at 2 and 3. Travis Hunter, cornerback / wide receiver out of Colorado. He's going to head to the Browns to help solidify them a little bit. All right, after this, the Giants, it's pretty, they could go quarterback. You could see them go quarterback. I doubt that's the path they go. We're going to bring me on. Abdul Carter on the board there. Blue chip. One person that I think the Bears would be good to trade up and get is Abdul Carter. I don't think the Giants would trade down from this. When you got blue chip sitting in your lap, that's when you go after it. So Abdul Carter, Penn State, defensive end, he'll go to the Giants. Now, this is where things are going to start getting choppy for me, okay? I'm going to have a few surprises in here. Will Campbell going to the Patriots. I don't think that's a surprise. But at 5, the Jaguars have teased trading out of the 5 spot. A lot of people say the Bears could go up to that. I actually think another team will be more aggressive. And I'm going to have the Cowboys jumping up here to get Ashton Jeanty at number 5. Many people think Ashton Jeanty is blue chip. I'm not quite there. You guys have seen my basis for that. So they're going to give 112, 244, and a 5th rounder to jump up to number 5. Cowboys will jump up to number 5 and select Ashton Jeanty, Boise State running back. So they'll give up their first this year, 2nd rounder, and 5th rounder to do it. It's a slight overpay. It's not a crazy overpay. It is a slight overpay. So Ashton Jeanty, bulldozer, good contact balance. Just the only question mark with him is his schedule that he faced. Some of the weakest competition in football. If he can overcome that, it's going to look really good for him. After that, the Raiders were sold on him. They're going to trade down. More importantly, the Saints are going to trade up to get Armand Membou. They need a right tackle bad. Armand Membou is the best right tackle in this class. They're going to go ahead and trade up. They're going to give away their first rounder, 9, 3 spots down for 71 and 184. Again, these trades aren't going to be crazy overpays. In this draft, I don't think you're going to see crazy overpays. I think you're going to see pretty value stuff, just teams moving up for the player that they want. And so Armand Membou will go to Missouri, or from Missouri is going to go to the Saints. And then you're going to have the Jets on the board. There's so many ways the Jets can go, but I do think they're in love with Tyler Warren. I'm going to have Tyler Warren go into the Jets as much as I'd like to see him don the burnt orange and navy blue. I think it's a fit for the Jets, and I think they are going to take Tyler Warren. So he goes to the Jets at number 7. Now, number 8, the last player that I would be comfortable with the Bears drafting in the top 10, Jalen Walker going to the Panthers, and it seems like that's a done deal as well. The Panthers are really high on him. So the Panthers are going to select Jalen Walker, and this leaves the nightmare scenario for me for Bears fans. I don't love anything that's left on the board. That's why you hear people talking about Kelvin Banks and all these other scenarios. So with that, the Raiders are going to grab Mason Graham. I know, guys, it would be easy just to say he's not going to go anywhere. It would be easy to say that he falls to 10 for the Bears. I just don't see it happening. The Raiders did meet with Mason Graham at the Combine. They like Mason Graham. If he falls to him at 9, I think they snag him, which leaves the Bears in a perilous condition. Perilous spot where they are going to go ahead and trade back The Dolphins are going to come up for Kelvin Banks. There's a lot of rumors about Kelvin Banks going to the Bears, but the Dolphins want to come up and get it. We've teased this trade. I like this trade. I hope it happens. 113, 398, and 4, 116. Again, not an overpay, right around equal value, slight overpay, but it's worth it for the Dolphins to come up and get that left tackle. Some consider Kelvin Banks to be the best left tackle in this class. So the Dolphins are going to come up and get him. Then the Bears are going to be sitting at 13, all right? So you got the Niners here. They could go several different directions. I think they like Will Johnson. The only problem is Will Johnson didn't get to show off a lot in the preseason workout, so I don't know if teams are going to draft him as high as he should go. He should go high. I don't know if teams are going to take him that high. So Will Johnson's going to go to the Niners. We're going to say it. We're going to manifest it. The Jaguars are going to fill their wide receiver spot with Teteora McMillan. And then the Bears are going to be sitting at 13 in a unique position here. They're going to be sitting in a spot where maybe a team like the Chargers want to get ahead of the Colts for tight end. A lot of talk about Colston Loveland. And you know that Chargers coach used to coach Colston Loveland in Michigan in Jim Harbaugh. So Jim Harbaugh moving from 22 to 13, giving the Bears their second round pick, 55. Again, I think Bears fans are going to want more than this, but it's actually an overpay. So we're dropping down to 22. We've picked up a second rounder now, a third rounder, and a fourth rounder to drop from 10 to 22. Most Bears fans should be happy with that, getting 3 extra picks. With that, the Chargers are going to select Colston Loveland ahead of the Colts. Kind of dubious right there. Colts fans, they wanted Colston Loveland. But now with no need to pick tight end right here, they're going to trade back. We're going to take advantage of the Packers. Packers need to win now with the bad quarterback situation they got themselves into. They need to see if they can make it worth it. Got a couple spots to fill here. They talk about wide receiver 1. They also talk about needing an edge. So they're going to jump from 23 to 14, give up their second rounder in this draft, and they're going to take Shamar Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M. Now, some of you might love Shamar Stewart, might have wanted him going to the Bears, but I did this for a reason. I don't see Shamar Stewart putting up production in the NFL, so who better to face the Bears than Shamar Stewart? Sorry, Packers fans, if you don't like it. You took a top 30 visit with him. You guys apparently like him. I hope it backfires on you, and you gave away your second round pick. We'll go chalk for a minute here. The Falcons are going to take Mike Green. The concerns over his promiscuity or allegations are going to be debunked, and he's going to go 15 to the Falcons. We're going to go defensive end again here at 16 to the Cardinals. Mikael Williams, defensive end out of Georgia. These Georgia kids are good finds. Jalen Walker, Mikael Williams. As long as they don't get behind the wheel of a car, they should be a great addition for these franchises. So Mikael Williams goes to the Cardinals at number 16. Number 17, the Bengals are on the clock. They're going to go Walter Nolan, one of my favorite players in this draft that didn't get a lot of respect early on. People finally started coming around. But Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss, who I think is very similar to Mason Graham. I would love to see the Bears snag him if there's a way to. In this scenario, we're trading back a couple times, so Walter Nolan goes to the Bengals. Gray Zabel, center out of North Dakota State, goes to the Seahawks. I think it's a good fit, a good spot for both of them. And now the Bears are going to want to move back up after trading down twice. Kind of take a little bit of the playbook of the Lions from a couple years ago. They see the Buccaneers, who have mentioned that they are possible in trading down. Bears want to get ahead of the Broncos to take a running back. They're going to give up that fourth rounder they grabbed and a seventh rounder. Fair value to trade up. A little bit of an overpay, but it's fair value. They're going to trade up, and they're going to take Omarion Hampton. It's not my favorite thing to take a running back in the first round, but when you're talking later first round, I can accept it. Omarion Hampton is a unique talent. He's going to be a good fit for the Bears. They gave away one of the fourth rounders they acquired, but we still have an extra second and an extra third. So it's a good spot for the Bears to be able to trade back up, get ahead of the Broncos in this situation. All right, I thought about Matthew Golden for the Broncos. I just think Luther Burden's a little bit overlooked. I don't know why, but he's being overlooked in this class. So I have Luther Burden going there, but it could be Matthew Golden. I believe the Broncos met with Matthew Golden in a top 30 visit. But Luther Burden is such a good talent to me. I'd be elated to have him on my roster as well. Shedeur Sanders, Steelers. I don't think they're trading up. A lot of rumors about the Steelers trading up, but that's not the way they regulate. That's not the way they work. They're going to stand pat. If it's Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, they'll take whichever quarterback falls to them. In this instance, Shedeur Sanders falls. I'm not on the bandwagon here that this is going to be a big run of quarterbacks at the top of this draft. It doesn't fit the mold. We don't need to force something that's not realistic. I do think you'll see some of these quarterbacks coming off the draft board in the early second round. In fact, late first round, a team wanting to trade back into the first round is a very realistic possibility because then you get that fifth-year option. But in this situation, Shedeur Sanders falls. He's the second one off the board at 21 in a weak quarterback class. Next up, we got the Buccaneers taking Jihad Campbell, who at 22 I think is an absolutely great value. I think the Colts would be happy to take him at 22 if they could. Colts need a couple things: tight end, linebacker, more depth in certain positions. One of my favorite players is Nick Amenwori in this draft, and I think a lot of people have overlooked him. He's my number one safety on the board. I think the Colts see it too. So even though they just signed a safety, they're going to take Nick Amenwori on because he's such a valuable asset for this team. So they've got Nick Amenwori, safety out of South Carolina, as their addition. They jumped right ahead of the Vikings, who also need a safety. So the Vikings are going to take Malachi Starks out of Georgia. I think this is a really good fit for them. I don't like it because the Bears are in the division of the Vikings, but it's a really good fit for the Vikings. And he's going to be an immediate impact player for the Vikings at safety. Texans need a tackle. They're going to get one of the best steals of this draft in Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons, if he didn't have his injury, was probably tackle one in this class. Everything I see looks like he's healed up and he's doing very well. So whoever snags Josh Simmons, I believe, is going to be a steal for them. If he lasts to 25, the Texans just got an absolute steal. After trading pieces away, after going through the offseason they need it too. So the Texans get Josh Simmons. The Rams are going to pick up Jahdae Barron, who I believe could be cornerback one in this class. Travis Hunter, Jahdae Barron. Travis Hunter with his two-way ability makes him a little more valuable. But Jahdae Barron is out of Texas, very, very valuable cornerback in this class. And he's going to be a great fit for the Rams. The Ravens, James Pierce Jr. falling down the boards a little bit. I mean, he's been such a big roller coaster range all the way up in the top 10, all the way to the second round. I think he's going to be a good fit with the Ravens. Help their defense that needs to be revitalized a little bit after they so heavily went offense this last year. Good fit, in my opinion, right there with James Pierce. Lions get a steal as well with Tyler Booker. And then we're going to move into the Bears trading back into the first round. Yes, you heard me right. Bears are going to use some of that draft capital to come back up and take a player that I've been in love with all offseason. Would the Bears do this? I don't know. It's one of their biggest needs, but the Bears are going to give away 239 and 241 to come up to 29 and get 261 back. So it's just pick swapping. It's just dropping down the board a little bit. Coming up 10 spots, dropping back 20 with the other spot. It's good value, and it works out well for the Bears. I would be happy with them doing this to get another first rounder, and Kenneth Grant, to me, is one of the best first rounders. I think he's a top 10 prospect. I've said it all offseason. I really like Kenneth Grant. I think he's a top 10 prospect. I would be very happy with the Bears trading back up into the first round with the Commanders to be able to do that. At 30, the Bills, they are going to solidify the defensive tackle position as well with Derek Harmon. I know some Bears fans love Derek Harmon. I just don't think he's as balanced. He gets a lot more pressure, gets one of the best pressures in this draft for defensive tackle position, so he's a good addition for the Bills. I just want the Bears to have more balance stopping the run with such a struggle last year the Bears had in stopping the run. So I went with Kenneth Grant over Derek Harmon. Then the Chiefs are getting a steal in Josh Connolly Jr. They need to solidify the tackle position as well. They're going to take Josh Connolly Jr., who I like as well. But he's going to help the Chiefs immediately and help reset some of that expensive clock they've had too. Like I mentioned earlier, at the end of the first round is a prime position for someone to trade back up into the draft. This is a good spot, I think, for Browns, the Giants, Saints. Several of these teams could trade up and get a fifth-year option quarterback, have someone in the first round that you can have 5 years with instead of 4. So the Eagles are going to trade away 132 and 134, drop down 2 spots, and the Giants are going to jump up and give away an earlier fourth rounder. So they're They're taking a late fourth, turning it into an early fourth for the Eagles. So the Eagles will move up 29 spots in the fourth round, but move down 2 spots in the first round. And that's pretty equal value. So with that, they're going to select, I've got me right in the way, Jalen Milroe, quarterback out of Alabama. Now, many of you might be saying this should be Jackson Dart range. I'm not going to oppose you on that one. This is going to be 1A, 1B, 1C. Which team falls in love with which quarterback? Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart here, Tyler Shaw. I think several are going to go right in this range in the early second round. This isn't going to be your first round range draft for quarterbacks. I think you're going to have more quarterbacks going in the second round of this draft. That's just my personal opinion. So let me know how you think about this draft. For the Bears fans now, I'm going to do an entire rest of the draft for them. But this is my first round draft for every team. This is how it all lines up. Let me move him off the screen. And then you've got here, pause that for just a second. Boom. Okay. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Ashton Jeanty, Armand Membu, Tyler Warren, Jalen Walker. And you can see the teams that traded around a little bit. So you've got the Cowboys that traded up. You got the Saints that traded up. You got the Dolphins that traded up. You got the Chargers that traded up. You got the Packers that traded up. You got the Bears that traded up with the Buccaneers after trading down initially. You've got the Bears trading into the first round, and you got the Giants trading into the first round. I think this could actually be a very realistic how it could go on draft night. And this could allude to that craziness that Ryan Poles was talking about. So let me know what you guys think. But here is the Bears' final tally. Move this over to the side, and this is how I've got the Bears going the rest of the draft. So now we traded down from 41 and up from 39. We're going to take Jonas Savania, offensive lineman out of Arizona. I like the fit for the Bears a lot. Elijah Arroyo is there with the other pick we picked up, 61. I think the Bears would like to go with Mason Taylor in this scenario, but I think the Colts would pick him up early, second round, maybe even trade up to get him earlier than other teams jumping in. They have a bad need for tight end, and the Bears are going to pick up the best one available. I don't see them trading up for that tight end. So it could be Terrence Ferguson later. Then Jordan Burch, I think, is being slept on by a lot of people. Same thing, giving up a little bit on the run defense, giving up a little bit on the tackling, but his pressure grades are phenomenal, and that's what the Bears need. We need someone to get pressure on the quarterback, and Jordan Burch would be great for that. The other pickup we picked up in the third round, Anthony Belton. The Bears brought him in for a top 30 visit. Big offensive tackle, over 330 pounds. Out of NC State, he could develop into the right tackle behind Darnell Wright, or he could replace Braxton Jones if it so be it. It's just, you've now got competition for those guys and a good opportunity when you're solidifying your offensive tackle room. Having Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, Anthony Belton, and Karan Amagaji is a good problem to have. Then we're going to take Jalen Lane. Ben Johnson's going to get his speed, 4.34 speed for Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech. I think it's a good natural fit. And the Bears brought a lot of wide receivers in for top 30 visits. So I do think they're planning on taking a wide receiver in this draft. Then at 7.240, I don't see him being there, but I like him so much. And every mock draft has him falling. So Jackson Woodard, probably just because he's a little slow, but he's got a knack for playing linebacker. He's very Jack Sanborn, TJ Edwards-esque. He fills lanes really well. You watch him one-on-one against Ashton Jeanty, and he was handling Ashton Jeanty every single time. So when he was one-on-one, now Ashton Jeanty handled other players that weren't NFL caliber, but Jackson Woodard did his job. So coming out with this haul with these 8 players, I would actually be very excited for the Bears draft if this were to happen. Omarion Hampton, Kenneth Grant, Jonas Savania, Elijah Arroyo, Jordan Burch, Anthony Belton, Jalen Lane, and Jackson Woodard. So here's my craziness, my Ryan Poles crazy trade down mock draft, how it went. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. Let me know if you think some of the other teams are a little unrealistic. Let me know if you think quarterbacks are going to go on a run at the top of the draft. Some people think that's going to happen. I just don't see that happening. And I don't see a running back run either. I see 2 in the first round. I really see these defensive ends, defensive tackles, some safeties, some defensive backs. I see them coming off the board a lot more in this scenario. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you don't mind hitting that like button, subscribing if you haven't done that by now. I appreciate it. Until next time, da Bears and bear down.
Bear down, sports making Chicago proud. 2 days to the draft.
We're 2 days to the draft. We're almost there. Hang in tight. We're almost there.